Welcome to the show. Another glorious day in the Corps. A day in the Corps is like a day on the farm. Every meal a banquet. Every paycheck a fortune. I love the Corps. Aliens, 1986, directed by James Cameron. More celebrity hate. How about that? I keep going back to celebrity and the nature of a celebrity. I think it's because they're the most vocal. And truly in a minority position. I remember mentioning something about the vocal minority, and I will talk about that in an episode I want to do about social courage at some point in the future. But I was thinking about the vocal minority. This was something that I think it was Christina Hoff Sommers, who is I want to call her a third wave feminist writer, who is a very, very, very smart woman, but she has pinpointed this whole thing about vocal minority. And the vocal minority is this very small group of people, select people, perhaps elite, who are off in a corner somewhere in imagine a really enormous warehouse, right? And you have an enormous group of people that is very quiet and that says nothing, like maybe whispers, whisper, whisper, whisper. And then you have over here in the corner of this enormous warehouse, maybe 10 people, but they all have megaphones, so they're all screaming. And a lot of them happen to be celebrities because they know they're going to get coverage in the media. So, I mean, like George Clooney belches, and it becomes news on Facebook. George Clooney belches. So this is more celebrity hate. I think the first thing, what was really bugging me? Okay, I was talking about this with Anderson, and I don't know. I was just, I see all these interviews with people, like on podcasts or something like that, or like people I've never heard of. And they're celebrities in some way. They're entertainers, maybe. They're stand-up comedians, and they're talking about how they own their own pools. And I'm like, what? If I've never heard of you, you don't deserve your own pool, especially if you're in entertainment. Now, the thing about pools, okay, the swimming pool. I've never known anybody. I had one friend who had a pool, but it wasn't a swimming pool. It was one of these tank-looking things, these above-ground jobs. It's kind of circular. I grew up in South Philadelphia in a row house situation. Row houses are just these two-story things. They got a tiny little backyard. You can't be bigger than 30 feet across, maybe 20 feet across. 20 feet across and about maybe 20 feet deep or something like that. So imagine an above-ground circular job filled with fresh chlorinated water or whatever else that you can't really swim in unless you're like maybe a little person, a dwarf or something. Maybe you can get a good yardage going there with your arms and your legs or anything. But if you're a normal, I shouldn't say normal. If you're a person, you're not going to get laps. Let's just put it that way. So okay, me and just about everyone else I've ever known in my life has never like owned a swimming pool. Maybe we knew somebody who owned a swimming pool. That was about it. Third hand, fourth hand person, in a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy who owns a swimming pool. So I was, for us, the swimming pool was this. You have typically a man, the husband and father of the family, the protector and provider. This is of an older generation, obviously, who has busted his ass and says, you know what? In the summertime, I want to cool off. I want my own goddamn pool. I'm going to build it. I'm going to put it in the ground or whatever else. Just something, just to relax, just to cool off, because it gets to be a bit much. You don't want to be cooped up in your house, especially if you have a nice piece of land or something like that. So you got like a nice patch of land and you put in a swimming pool or something like that. You earned that. That is yours. You worked your ass off for that swimming pool. So you get to have it. Aces in my book. Thumbs up here. But celebrities in California, especially during the drought, right? I mean, it's like they have these horrible droughts in California every summer, like clockwork, right? And you got the droughts create dry, you got your tumbleweeds, and you got your brush fires, and then you got half of Northern California in flames. And they're telling you to conserve water because you got to get the water, put out the fires, or conserve water because not enough water is getting through because there's no rain. And we have a drought situation, and yet these celebrities are filling up their swimming pools with water. Fuck you, asshole. Take the water out, put out those brush fires, and be thankful that we didn't take away your land. The celebrities who who garden their lawns or whatever, or water their lawns and stuff because they want to have the nice looking grass and everybody else, but they're telling everybody else, hey, don't use your water. Why? Why, sir? Well, Susie, I'm more important than you. So I get to have whatever I want. And I want to create a situation where I can tell other people not to do what I do because I'm better than that person. So that's how that is. Now, as I reach and go into my old years, I am old. And I don't recall or am familiar with many a celebrity out there. So I'm going to hear about a lot of names. I'm like, who the fuck is this? Who the fuck are you? Who's Demi Lovato? I only know who Demi Lovato is because everybody fucking talks about her now, so they talk about her like she's a celebrity. Miley Cyrus, I guess. Cyrus, I'm assuming. Child of wealthy or famous people. And they own their own pools. I'm like, what? Especially since I know how it really goes a lot of time. Unless you're into acting and you get an enormous paycheck for that, you're kind of an employee in a way. Musicians really don't make much money. They only make money if their album sells ridiculous amounts of money. Like I know Adele, obviously, made a lot of money, people like that. Well, most of the time musicians are only making money when they tour or they had the foresight to ask for merchandising so that the studio doesn't get, or the label doesn't get the money. But mainly the label is making the money for the most part. But for a lot of the other people out there and for the, it's like celebrities you never heard of, it's even more bitter for me when it's somebody I dislike, I don't know, who is a celebrity I really have nothing but dislike for. Well, Beyonce kind of comes to mind. For Christ's sake, Rihanna comes to mind. These ladies who are very beautiful women. Let's not kid ourselves. They are good-looking women, all right? Rihanna particularly. Wow. She's a doll. She's a knockout. She's a fox. They're not good singers. They don't sing. Like I said, every song that Beyonce sings sounds like this all the time. This is how she sings. This is what it sounds like when she sings. And then Rihanna, I don't know what Rihanna does. She kind of like does this whispering rap thing where she's doing it. And then they do this auto-tuning thing where they're talking like this. They're singing like this. And that's become the new art form. It used to be like a kind of a patch over because your singer couldn't hit certain notes. So you had to kind of gloss it over a little bit with the auto-tuning or wall of sound, as it were. Overproduced. Polished crap. It's just crap. And okay, what was another one? Kendall Jenner. I don't know. I don't know that she it irritates me that that she has paid the kind of money she has paid when she doesn't need it. I mean, like she should just totally give all that money away or something, or invest it in a community. Something like that. Maybe create a situation where jobs can be mined from something. Create a corporation. Set up a corporation, a money laundering, drug-connected scheme to get money out of the U.S. and hire a bunch of homeless people to do it, right? And pay them $22 million a year. You can have an enormous crew of people. And maybe you could turn it into a profit venture for yourself and make even more money. Do that. Yeah. She doesn't need that money. She doesn't need that money. Give that money to something else. Put it into something. Put it into a cause. Put it into employment. Yeah. I like it. At least my voice is kind of screwed up, right? So I can make it sound like Belzer's Hooker from the Groove Tube. And I go, yeah. All right. Yeah. But then we get back to this is burns my butter. Beyonce can't sing, has no talent. Her idea of dancing is kind of shaking uncontrollably. Epileptic fits. I mean, I've seen good dancing. I've seen dancing that was like show-stopping. I was like, holy shit, that is some serious dance. She doesn't really do that, and none of her backup dancers do it either. They'll just kind of shake uncontrollably, and it looks like they're going to fall on the floor and start drooling in a minute. Beyonce's dad bought her career. I mean, he was a record executive, and she winds up a singer. So it's like, oh fuck, this girl isn't going to be able to do anything. So I might as well just buy her a career. And I guess if you have the advantage as a parent and you're loaded, you're wealthy, then you just sort of give money to give money to your daughter's career, help set her up or something like that. You can't take it with you. I know people want to think they can. They think they can freeze their heads like Walt Disney or Ted Williams or whatever else and somehow come back into the next life as wealthy, I don't know, cybernetic devices? God knows. I'd love to see a cybernetic Beyonce, wouldn't you? Cyber Beyonce. Ooh. Illuminati. I don't get the whole Illuminati thing. That's another celebrity thing that I just don't understand. All right, this was another point I wanted to make. Incredibly wealthy people and the children of incredibly wealthy people are not celebrities, okay? This is something that really bugs me. It's no coincidence that everyone you're seeing in some capacity in entertainment these days successful in a way because they're kind of being bankrolled by this connection is because their parents are wealthy, right? Tommy Hilfiger's daughter, okay? I mean, like, I didn't even have to know that she was Tommy Hilfiger's daughter. She has a podcast now with her husband that she does. Amy Hilfiger and Steve Nash or something like that. Steve Hash. I forget the names. They have the podcast, and she can talk. They can talk about meager upbringing all they want. Hilfiger is worth $1 billion anyway. You don't have to even look it up, but obviously you do look it up for confirmation. Just say, her last name is Hilfiger. It's like saying, well, this woman here who's incredibly successful at something, I'm not quite sure, her last name is Forbes. This one's last name is Bush. This one's last name is Clinton. This one's last name is Rockefeller. This one's last name is Nixon. I don't know. But, and it's like, you didn't get anywhere. It's like, you needed more help than the rest of us. I mean, there are still people out there they got to bust their ass. They got to get out there and do things. Who's the last one I can think of that was absolutely nowheresville before he became huge? Quentin Tarantino. No connections. His family's dirt poor white trash from Tennessee and California. He comes out to California. He doesn't even know who his dad is. He disowned his dad, which is good. I applaud him for that because, I'm kind of in the same boat. I know what that means. He didn't have any connections. He had to get out there, get seen, and people just like, and this is like such a system of exclusion that we live in, that people ignored him. They were like, "Fuck you." I got fucking Tommy Hilfiger's daughter over here who wants to do something. We haven't even tested whether or not she's any good at anything, and the fact that she's a podcaster kind of illustrates my point. But it's not a coincidence, okay? When the children of actors become successful working actors, that's another one, okay? I want to talk for a moment about Kate Hudson, and I believe his name is Wyatt Russell, okay? Now, Kate Hudson, daughter of Oliver Hudson and Goldie Hawn. And surprise, she became an actress. And I think she did because she looked at her mom's life and was like, you know what? I don't want to be cutting up fish for the rest of my life. I don't work in a cannery. I don't want to do dirty jobs. I don't want to work in plumbing or toilet. I want to earn a lot of money in the path of least resistance, which is just acting. And then, they're all going to go after Kate Hudson in a second. They're going to wait a minute. Oh, my God. She's Goldie Hawn's daughter. She must be talented. Wyatt Russell is another one. Wyatt Russell being the daughter. I'm sorry. Wyatt is not the daughter. Wyatt Russell is the son of Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell. So, and I'm like looking at this episode of Black Mirror. I think it was season 3, Black Mirror. I think it was season 3. Good episode, great episode, and he was great in it. But again, he's an actor. His parents are Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell. If he could not be a good actor based on the basis of that, then there's no hope for children of actors. But this is how it is now because it's all a club. You become famous, you breed with other famous people, and you produce a child, and that child will get along in life just fine. Don't you worry about it. But I look at the credits, and I'm like, Wyatt Russell, This is interesting. He bears a little bit of a ballpark resemblance to Kurt Russell. I wonder if, and then I take a very quick look on the Wikipedia, and blammo, there it is, connection. So all of these people wind up doing extremely well, just simply for the genetics, the lucky genetics of being born to a family of famous people. And I always felt, that's what leads me into my last point that I wanted to make, is that celebrities are not real people. I do not see them as real people. Whatever they are is a mutation of a person, a mutation of a skin bag with blood, filled with blood. The celebrity is not a real person, and they're really not, actually, ultimately, because you find, how do they fail so badly at everything in life that you and I take for granted, the things that we can do. I've been married for 17 years. I have a beautiful daughter. I have a brilliant wife, a brilliant daughter. And it just comes as second nature to me. I felt like I was meant for fatherhood. I just sort of understand. I'm just sort of like that. I've been in situations where I was with friends who were there with their children, little babies on their arms. I think there's one child I met. My coworker had just had a baby. Brought the child in to say hi to everybody she works with. I said, "Hi, how are you?" This kid tried to jump on me, tried to get into my arms because he sensed that I was a father in some way. So it's like, I guess maybe a strong male authority figure or some kind of a father figure. And this kid wanted to put his arms around me, and I was like, "It's okay, you got a father, don't worry about it." I did mind it. I did hold him though, a very beautiful child. And another kid tried to kind of grab me one time because they just sort of saw me as some kind of and that's weird. Never looked at myself that way until I had the child for a couple of years. Regan was in our lives, and just sort of look back on it, and it's like I don't know what it is, but for me it's like the easiest thing in the world. I guess I'm just used to dealing with stubborn people. I think my mother gave me kind of a bit of preparation for that. How about that? But the celebrity doesn't understand and can't really embrace those aspects. The celebrity has to pretend. They pay the right people, and they live the right lifestyle, and there's a lot of comfort, and you throw a lot of money at kids and their problems. It's difficult for them. So I thought this was very interesting. There was a reasonably popular television show called Hannibal. It was on NBC. It was a great show. I loved it. I thought the first 2 seasons were brilliant. The third season kind of goes off the rails a little bit. Toward the end, goes crazy. But otherwise, really good show. Great show about Hannibal Lecter, of course. It continues the story of Hannibal, Silence of the Lambs, Red Dragon, all that kind of stuff. But one of the recurring motifs of Hannibal was that Hannibal Lecter was not one of us. It's not as though he were an alien from another planet. What it actually was that he was masquerading as a human. So he would talk often about wearing a person suit or a human suit, a costume that he has to wear in order to hide among the rest of us. As much of a monster as he might be, he has to. I don't know. The closest analogy I can come up with in the animal kingdom, anyway, is the Venus flytrap, where it's just sort of sitting there. You're not even noticing it, and then you land on it, and then suddenly, boom, the jaws open, and then they shut just as quickly, and you are engulfed in that. So he has to pretend to be a human in order to prey upon us. He's hunting us. He's a predator. It's a really fantastic analogy. So I was compare celebrities to that. Celebrities have to put on what I would call a human suit and pretend to be one of us and talk to us as though they are one of us. When they do not see us, all they see is the potential for grosses, money, profit. They want your money. That's really kind of all they want. They want your money. So that's how I view celebrities. I hate them if they own their own pools, and I've never heard of them. Wealth begets privilege, begets wealth, begets success. And they have to wear a human suit. in case they get caught. So that's what I'm thinking will happen. And we're seeing that now. We're beginning to realize that they really have, celebrities have really nothing more than a lot of just contempt for everyday people, because we're the ones who actually make the wheels go around. We're the ones who actually get things done, and they don't. And I wish they would realize that. Have a good night, and I'll see you again next time.